What's up everyone, Kane here, Captain of the Day's Pirates, coming at you with an RP Luffy Treasure Cup deck list from the Treasure Cup hosted by the Booster Box. It was rescheduled, so it was OP09 legal, and I did finish 7-3, 82nd overall, one decision in the 10th round out of being in the top 64. Just a great day overall for the deck. The list is feeling great overall. If you're not familiar, RP Luffy is a red-purple leader with 6,000 base power. That comes at the cost of one of his life, so he's a 3 life, 6k power leader. Activate main once per turn if you have 0 Don or 10 Don, add 1 Don active. I'm gonna run through kind of the deck list relatively quickly, some of the decisions and where I'm at with it, and then also changes I've made coming out of the deck. So pretty easy ones off the start. Nami, our beautiful SP Nami's got 4 of those. That's one of the kind of enablers or reasons to play the deck, is having access to that searcher. Gum Gum Giant, one of the best cards in the deck, got an upgrade. Now it is a Don -2, 1 cost event to give 4,000 power, trash 1 card and draw 2. So it replaces itself. That Nami is just a 1k counter with a on play, look at the top 5 for Straw Hats. No color restriction on that. From there, kind of the best 2Ks that we have access to. These are getting a little bit pricey, so they are functional if you need some other things, but Uso Hachi, on play if you have 8 or more Don, rest one of your opponent's 5 cost or less characters. It's a 2k counter, phenomenal searchable option. Sanji from OP07. It has an effect if you have two or less Don than your opponent, it's 3 cost less, but otherwise it's just a 6k, 6 cost blocker with a 2k counter. Our ramp package is the kind of the standard 2 best options, 4 of each. Zorojuro, 3 cost, 4k on attack, 1k counter. If you have 3 or less life, get an active Don. Mr. 2, on play, get an active Don, 4 cost, 1k power, 1k counter. When attacking, it copies one of your opponent's power, so it can swing for 8, 9, 10, 12 sometimes. Just a quick kind of mid-game power package that we've gotten access to in 09. All of these are new cards that are just great for us through the mid-game. 5 cost Yasop, 1k counter, 6k power. On play, up to one of your leaders gets plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then it also has a Don X1 when attacking effect. That does allow you to give an opponent's character minus 1,000. Not used all that much, but it's helpful when you do need it or want to use it. Ben Beckman, another red hair pirate, 7 cost, 7k, 1k counter, trash, up to one of your opponent's 6k power or less. Trashing is very important keyword there, not KO, trash, so it gets around those kind of effects. Also, I know not everyone is playing this in RP Luffy, but it's been phenomenal for me winning some games. 7 cost, 7k Sanji with a 1k counter. On play, return 1 or more Don to your deck. Gains rush, and then it rests a 6 cost or less. So a ton of flexibility and strength down the stretch to kind of close out games with that Sanji. A couple blockers that we do have. I am running 4 queens. If you remember earlier in the channel, I wanted to cut this card, but man, it just keeps coming back and it's pretty solid. So it's a 6k power, 5 cost, 1k counter, blocker. On play, Don -1, draw 2, trash 1. Just a great cycling effect, replaces itself, and gives you some defensive flexibility. We basically can play that anytime you get to 7 or higher Don with really no consequence at all, and then at 10 Don, it kind of comes as an upside. These 2 Onamis, I did add literally the morning of the tournament. Technically, I shouldn't have been able to add it, but the tournament organizer let me do it. So it was a 4 cost, 2k power, 1k counter. Blocker, if you have 8 Don or more on play, trash 1 card, then draw 2. So a slightly less efficient card selection piece than Queen, but very solid and very powerful. Sorry, I just bumped my tripod a little bit there. Straighten that out, my apologies. Then kind of getting into our top end. So basically that Onami was just a last second decision. It played out all right. I am going to talk about changes I've made coming out of the tournament with the deck list that I'm playing today. Getting into our top end bricks, 3 of the 7 cost to Eustace Captain Kidd with an on play and when attacking Don -1. Give your leader up to plus 1,000 power until the start of your next turn. Amazing defensive tool. Good into Blackbeard because it has that when attacking effect, and it also is just one of our best defensive options when we're playing into early game Dofis and Luffys that make us go second especially. So 3 does seem like enough because once we ramp past it, we'd rather play some of these other options, like specifically these new gates that I'm running 4 of. So 4 new gates. This is a 9 cost 10k. On play, you get plus 2,000 power to your leader, and then it has Don X2 when attacking KO at 3k or less. So that effect isn't always, the game breaking, but it's huge. It comes up in a lot of matchups. It can really make a difference. It can KO an opponent's Onami, a lot of other things, but that defensive flexibility to be a 8k leader on our turn, on your opponent's turn, is extremely powerful for us. Then the new 9 cost Luffy that has an on play, return 1 Don, draw a card, and gain rush. I think this is one of the best rushers we have access to now. The only case against it is that as an on play that Blackbeard can turn off, but it's still a threat and it's still just extremely powerful into literally every other deck. So I highly recommend it still. And then my kind of top end lock is still 2 Gear 5s, 10 cost 12k. It's on play, get an extra turn, but you return all your characters in Don. And then it has the once per turn ramp effect as well. So synergizes with the leader effect of having 0 Don after you play this to allow us to have a very powerful swing turn that basically anytime you play this, it's equivalent to swinging your board, 7k from leader, 10k from leader the next turn, and 12k from this. And then also a true rush character that I think is still being kind of undervalued to some extent, Gold D. Roger. 10 cost 13k, rush. If you or your opponent have 0 life, if they activate a blocker, they lose the game or you win the game. So I've been loving 2 of these. It gives you great over-the-top potential in a lot of matchups, especially into Blackbeard. That's my tech, I guess, for Blackbeard, you could say, whereas the rest of the deck plays out pretty damn well on its own. So this already run a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I am gonna go right into the couple changes that I have made. So wanting to just solidify the top end a tiny bit more, I do love this kind of mid-game package that I do have here, but I did just get my 1 more 9 cost Luffy, and I do just want 1 more top end threat. Some people do kind of split like maybe 1 less Roger, 1 less Luffy to be 2 dragons, Monkey D dragons if you're worried about Blackbeard a lot. But I felt pretty good into them naturally on my own. Then also these Onamis, they were okay, but I want a little bit more natural in-hand defensive options. I think in the matchups where I did play Onami, having either one of these defensive options and or just playing a little bit more aggressively may have benefited me a little bit more. So I do have a Franasoke and 1 Radical Beam in there. They're both searchable. Could make a case for both of them to be Franasokes. I probably wouldn't do 2 Radical Beams just because I still am wanting to counter out early and have a little bit more of that ability to avoid being pressured down. But the 1 more 4K on top of our Gum Gum Giants has been nice so far in testing, and I feel very good about this core of the deck. If anyone asks for a kind of standard OP09 list, I think this is a phenomenal starting point. Obviously, if you got to work around some of these secrets, there are some alternative options too, and I'll be making some videos on that. But hope that you guys like this, and check out the full Treasure Cup video and subscribe to the channel if you like what you see.